welcome to you. This is OGTV Main News. I am Bukola Agbakeso. Thanks so much for joining us. On the news, 6,000 contacts on the watch list of the federal government for COVID-19. Total lockdown to commence in Ogun State on Friday night. Inspector General of Police directs officers to be humane in lockdown enforcement. Nigeria's power generation improves with 273.48 megawatts. Spain loses over 10,000 lives to coronavirus pandemic. It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver. You're welcome to the news once again. Now the news in full. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osagie Ihianere, says the number of contacts being traced for COVID-19 has risen above 6,000. Ihianere said this during the daily presidential task force briefing on Thursday. The minister further said the number of persons being infected with the virus is expected to increase this week. He said the ministry had met with the leadership of the Nigerian Medical Association with a view to bringing back some retired doctors to assist with emergency efforts. Ihianere further said the Ministry of Trade and Investment would assist in ensuring that the number of masks being produced is sealed up. The Director General of Nigeria Center for Disease Control, Dr. Chike Ihekwesu, has said that people who are infected with coronavirus but not showing symptoms of the disease are difficult to keep in isolation centers. The NCDC boss said this in Abuja during a briefing of the Presidential Task Force of COVID-19. He added that no preferential treatment was being given to those in isolation. He said when someone is physically well and still affected, it makes it difficult to stay in a room. He urged them to use phones to make contact with their families and friends. Some arrangements are being made to allow them to come out to receive fresh air under controlled circumstances so that they can bear the period until they test negative. There is no defining period of isolation. The person must have to stay until the test is negative, although a very challenging period, and only family members and friends are allowed to keep encouraging them throughout the period. The 14-day lockdown declared by President Muhammadu Buhari to contain the spread of coronavirus in the country will begin tomorrow, Friday, 3rd of April 2020 in Ogun State. The lockdown, which was earlier directed to start Friday last week, was shifted to tomorrow to allow residents of the state prepare adequately for the 2-week lockdown. Other states also affected by the lockdown are Lagos and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The order began in the 2 states last Friday. Exempted from the lockdown are media practitioners, health personnel, security operatives, among others. And still on COVID-19 pandemic, the people of Ogun State have been enjoined to fully observe the 14-day COVID-19 lockdown starting at 11 in the night on Friday, 3rd of April 2020, as one of the measures to flatten the curve of the ravaging virus. The state government will also do everything possible to ensure the safety of all and sundry, as all ends are on deck to save the state from the pandemic. These were the submissions of Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, and Director, National Orientation Agency in Ogun State, Mr. Shola Babalola, on OGTV's News and Current Affairs program, Democratic Path, with the topic COVID-19, mobilizing for lockdown compliance.
The government has never worked in isolation on this matter. The local government, the state government has been working with the local government. Like you just said, you had the NOA that starts. In every local government headquarters, you have one NOA person there, and they are in the various wards. And don't forget we have that. We have CDAs, we have CDCs, and we have League of Imam and Alphas, we have Christian Association of Nigeria, we have PFN, we have Market Association, we have National Youth Council of Nigeria, we have politicians to the root level. These are the people that the government is working with to make sure that, one, the information get down to the entire people. Like throughout Ogun State today, I'm sure by 10 o'clock this morning, in almost, in all the 20 local governments, a particular meeting was going on, made up of the honorable member elected from that constituency, the chairman of the local government, the representative of the Christian Association of Nigeria, the League of Imam, the market associations, the non-indigenous. The governor has directed that such committee should be formed at local government and even what level.
Look at me, I've brought in 1 or 2 or 3 people who can identify themselves and they know we are on the assignment. So we have a way we can still go ahead and do it. We use a lot of social media.
Okay.
We use it a lot. We have been sending posters, we have been sending jingles on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter angles, so many strategies we can use. Every contact, I send jingles to every contact on my phone on daily basis, not less than 2, 3, 4 different types of jingles, and of course messages.
Okay, all right.
The Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, and Mr. Shola Babalola, while discussing on democratic path. The Ogun State government has commended the Poultry Association of Nigeria, PAN, for complementing its efforts towards providing succor to the poor and the vulnerable in the state ahead of the lockdown. Deputy Governor Engineer Noimot Salako Oyedele, who gave the commendation while receiving the support on behalf of the state government, said the benevolence was apt at this time that the Prince Dapo Abiodun-led administration is doing everything to provide food for residents in all the 3 senatorial districts of the state. She said the task force set up by the governor for each local government have been mandated to go into each local government to enumerate the poor and vulnerable, towards ensuring that people who need the support are the ones that get it.
Task force for each local government, and they've been mandated to go into the local government and enumerate the poor and vulnerable to make sure that people who need this support are the ones that get it. The support is across party lines, is across religious lines, is across ethnic lines. We are looking to go around the state and make sure that people are fed during this period. The first feeding exercise, the first distribution will be on Saturday. But that will just be the first one. It's going to be ongoing and rolling throughout the period of the lockdown. Because we know that we have a wide range of, and we cannot get to everybody on one day.
Engineer Salako Oyedele said people will be enumerated, listed, and be notified according to the timetable to come for the package, as the distribution is not a one-day-off event, while enjoining residents of the state to support the authorities, be cooperative, continue to maintain personal hygiene and social distancing in order to curtail the spread of the virus. Earlier, Chairman, Poultry Association of Nigeria, PAN, Ogun State Chapter, Mrs. Blessing Alawode, said the association decided to support the state towards making food available to the vulnerable due to the extension of the lockdown till Friday. Alawode said egg and chicken are vital protein sources, and as a major producer of food, PAN mobilizes its members across the state to support the efforts of the state government towards providing stimulus packages for the less privileged in the state, adding that about 1,600 crates of eggs were gathered within 24 hours. And from Osun State, the government has confirmed that 6 more Ivory Coast returnees in the state have tested positive for coronavirus. It was reported that the development brings the total number of cases in the state to 20. Osun State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Rafiu Isamoto, said that all the 127 returnees had been tested and 18 of them had returned positive. A doctor treating COVID-19 patients at the Irua Specialist Teaching Hospital, Edo State, has contracted the disease. The president of the National Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Aliyu Sokumba, has said. The NAT president said this in an interview on a television monitored on Thursday. Sokumba said 6 doctors had died of Lassa fever, while one unnamed doctor had been infected with COVID-19. He added that at the moment, as the health workers continue to play their part in containing the spread of the disease, the health workers should be more protected, adding that these doctors testing positive to various diseases are being left alone to take care of themselves. 8 days after isolation and treatment, Professor Jesse Otegbayo, Chief Medical Director, CMD of the University College Hospital UCH Ibadan, has tested negative for COVID-19. Head of Public Relations Unit of the hospital, Mr. Toye Akinrinlola, said the last list of his blood sample had come back negative. Akinrinlola said the test result arrived at about 3:45 in the afternoon to gladden the heart of family, friends and workers of the institution. Otegbayo had tested positive to the virus 7 days ago. He said he may have contracted the virus through board meetings of the hospital held from Monday to Wednesday last week. The provost of the College of Medicine and his deputy also tested positive for the virus and have since placed themselves in self-isolation. In fulfillment of its promise to give succor and ameliorate the foreseeable pains caused by the 14-day lockdown on residents of Ogun State, the governor has inaugurated the relief materials distribution committees to oversee the exercise across the state. Governor Dapo Abiodun, while inaugurating the committees for Yewa South local government area, stated that the relief materials are targeted at the vulnerable, especially people who cannot feed daily except they go out to work, as well as the poor. Governor Abiodun, who was represented by Mr. Olaolu Olabenton, the State Commissioner for Budget and Planning, said the members of the committee comprised mainly stakeholders from community development associations, CDAs, religious bodies, and traditional councils, including Council of Baales. Governor Abiodun assured the people that the food bank has been strategically delineated to reach the nooks and crannies of the state, as government was committed to ensuring that the people had access to food for necessary support as the state joins other states in obeying the federal government's directive to lock down so as to discontinue the spread of the coronavirus pandemic from 11 in the night on Friday.
Was inaugurated today, and right after now we are going to go into a technical session. The point for the senatorial district is in Ota. So we need to talk about logistics, about how to get it here, logistics, about how to get it to every nook and cranny. You heard what she said. We have to make sure it touches everybody, and we are going to work on that. The poorest of the poor. There are some people who, if they don't go out in a day, they will not be able to feed. You understand? There are some people who have absolutely no income, and that's how we begin to go up. So when you deal with those ones, those who don't have anything unless they go out, those who have no income, when you finish with that and you still have more materials, then you go up the ladder. So that's how it will be done.
According to Mr. Olabenton, the 20-man committee is headed by the caretaker chairman, Yewa South Local Government Area, Alhaji Rahman Fagbinro, the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Yewa South Chapter, Chief Imam, Yewa South Community Development Association chairman, Yewa South, the market leaders, Chairman Council of Baales, among others. The duo of the chairman, Alhaji Rahman Fagbinro, and the House of Assembly member representing Yewa South State Constituency, Honorable Bola Ajayi, and the Iyaloja of Yewa South commended the governor for his kind gesture towards easing the pains and challenges associated with the sit-at-home directive of the government. advising the people to comply with the directive, noting that it was for everybody's good. We take a short break now, and when we return, the news continues. Don't go away.
From concept to delivery, every step is a mark of quality and experience. Our creative excellence guarantees precision, elegance, and class, and that's for all people with good taste in fashion. Leaning on sophisticated tailoring technology, we produce thousands of garments per day. Our Tailoring and Vocational Institute is next to none, training and mentoring hundreds of young and proficient tailors every year. Enroll or sponsor a candidate today. Wesley Creations, for exclusive fashion.
You are most welcome back. OGTV News continues. All ends must be on deck at containing the spread of COVID-19 across the country. Ogun State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Kuka, stated this while receiving a volunteer group in her office at Okimoso, Abeokuta. Yusuf Ganion reports.
As the dreaded coronavirus continues to threaten human existence across the world, various organizations and individuals have continued to show support towards combating the virus. One of these organizations is the National Volunteer Group for COVID-19, which comprises various professional bodies with the interest to supporting government's policies and projects, especially towards containing the spread of the virus. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health in Ogun State, Dr. Adesonya Ayinde, who represented Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Kuka, says the state government is making concerted efforts to combat the spread of the virus.
I must say that we are quite pleased to see you, to know you, and know that there are people who are already in the same spirit with us to make sure that we put feet on this, we stamp this virus down and not allow it to escalate and consume our society.
The state coordinator of the National Volunteer Group for COVID-19, Olumide Fidelix, reflects on the areas which the group stands to support the government.
Yeah, definitely we have been working, we have been into sensitization, we have been into contact tracing. Our plan is to further work with government structure and to work also with our structure. We have occupied the space. So we project government policies, government feelings, and we want people to obey what the line staff are saying.
The State Director of Public Health, who is also in charge of the incident control in the state, Dr. Festus Shoyinka, stresses the need for people to stay at home at this critical period.
A lot of our people still don't understand why they need to sit at home. We all need this. At least for us, if there is a shutdown of 14 days, anybody who will manifest symptoms within that 14 days, it will show. Yes. We will all be able to focus attention on picking up people with symptoms, testing them, putting them in isolation, while minimizing their contact with other people. So the shutdown is something that our people need to understand.
Embrace personal hygiene is the only way to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
The German mission in Nigeria has pledged 5.5 million euros to the Nigerian Humanitarian Fund, says the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Nigeria. The donation, according to an online currency converter, Oanda, as of 2 in the afternoon on Thursday, exchanged for 2.2 billion naira. This is coming as the West African country grapples with the attendant effects of economic shock as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, which has paralyzed most activities in the country while infecting over 170 people with 2 deaths. The pledge to the Nigeria Humanitarian Fund is more critical than ever for vulnerable people to have access to clean water, food, and shelter. This will enable partners to continue delivering life-saving aid amidst COVID-19. German airline Lufthansa and Air France on Thursday evacuated about 637 Europeans from Nigeria. The flights were operated through the Muritala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Although closed for normal flight operations as part of measures to curtail further importation of COVID-19 into the country, evacuation flights are permitted by the federal government. While 238 Germans were evacuated by Lufthansa, Air France evacuated 399 French and Dutch citizens. Of the 399 French and Dutch citizens, 142 were said to have been airlifted from Cotonou, Benin Republic, while 257 others joined the flight at the Lagos airport. The Air France flight was one of the 3 expected to evacuate Dutch and French nationals from Nigeria. The board of directors of the African Development Bank has approved $2 million in emergency assistance for the World Health Organization, WHO, to reinforce its capacity to help African countries contain the COVID-19 pandemic and mitigate its impacts. The grant, which is in response to an international appeal by the WHO, will be used by the world body to equip regional member countries to prevent, rapidly detect, investigate, contain, and manage detected cases of COVID-19. It is one part of several bank interventions to help member countries address the pandemic, which is spreading quickly and is straining already fragile health system. Specifically, the WHO African region will use the funds to bolster the capacity of 41 African countries on infection, prevention, testing, and case management. WHO Africa will also boost surveillance systems, procure and distribute laboratory test kits, and support coordination mechanisms at national and regional levels. This grant will enable regional member countries to put in place robust containment measures within 48 hours of COVID-19 case confirmation and also support WHO Africa region. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Adamu, has cautioned officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force currently deployed for the enforcement of the lockdown and social distancing orders to ensure that the rights of Nigerians are not infringed upon under any pretense. This is according to a statement by Force spokesman DCP Frank Uba. In the statement issued on Thursday, the DCP Uba further revealed that persons on essential duties are exempted from the restriction orders and should be accorded due courtesies and unfettered access to and from their places of duty. According to Mr. Uba, the IGP noted that the global community is now in extraordinary times, with the lockdown taking its toll on every component of national life. The IGP asked all police officers deployed for the enforcement of these restriction orders to be professional, humane, and tactful, and must show utmost respect for the citizenry. The IGP also directed command commissioners of police to immediately conduct monitoring of police officers deployed on enforcement duties in their areas of responsibilities. He equally charged the Zonal Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIGs, across the nation to ensure adequate supervision of personnel under their watch, as well as due compliance with the standard operating procedure guiding this special task. The Nigerian Correctional Service has said there was no case of COVID-19 in any of its custodial centers across the country. It stated that certain preventive measures had been put in place before the index case of COVID-19 in the country, adding that all inmates were safe. The NCS disclosed that it would not transfer or evacuate the high-profile inmates on account of the pandemic, noting that individuals in custody were not given preferential treatment based on their political or economic status. High-profile persons serving various jail terms at the Kuje Custodial Center, Abuja, and other prison facilities include a former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Meto, a former governor of Taraba State, Jolly Unyami, a former governor of Plateau State, Joshua Dariye, and a former governor of Abia State, Oji Kalu. The Nigerian Correctional Service spokesman, Chuks Njoku, explained that the NCX leadership was doing everything to prevent COVID-19 outbreak in custodial centers, adding that visits to inmates had been suspended. The Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebuland, Oba Dr. Sikiru Kayode Adetono Ogbagba II, is widely believed to be one of the longest reigning monarchs in Nigeria. Oba Adetono, who hails from the Anikilaya ruling house, Ijebu-Ode, has been occupying the throne of his forefathers as the 57th royal father in the land. In this special report, Peter Falomo looks at the reign of the traditional ruler, who today marks the 60th year of his coronation. This report.
The Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebuland, Oba Dr. Sikiru Kayode Adetono, was born into the family of Prince Rufai and Alaja Ajibabi Adetono of the Anikilaya ruling house in Ijebu-Ode on the 10th of May 1934. Prince Adetono, as fondly called during his youthful age, attended Baptist School, Ereko, Ijebu-Ode, United Primary School, Okeagbo, Ijebu-Igbo, and Ansarudin School, also in Ijebu-Ode, between 1943 and 1950. For his secondary education, the young Prince Sikiru Adetono attended Oluiwa College, now Adeola Odutola College, Ijebu-Ode, from 1951 to 1956. In 1957, Prince Adetono took up an appointment with the then Audit Department of the Western Region, Ibadan. He shares his memories of this period.
I could remember the sort of training we had under our principal, Mr. Onodepe, and I think this too is quite a good influence on me today, what we learned from him.
A year later, Prince Sikiru Adetono resigned his appointment for further studies in accountancy in the United Kingdom during the period of colonial rule in Nigeria. Due to respect for tradition, the kingmakers of Ijebu-Ode at that time unanimously chosen Prince Sikiru Kayode Adetono as the Awujale of Ijebuland and was enthroned as the 57th royal father in 1960. Ogbagba II, Oba Sikiru Adetono, speaks on the sacrificial role of his kingship.
This was an obligation, of course, and I think it was quite a privilege. It was a privilege for me to have the opportunity to serve the people.
With his zeal and determination to move Ijebuland to greater heights, Oba Sikiru Adetono brought esteemed unity, peace, and tranquility to the land of Ijebu-Ode and its environs.
Don't forget, whatever might be your aspiration, you still have a lot of other factors to reckon with. And of course, the influence of politics is part of it, and all the modernization and various changes that has eroded the position of the institution, we just have to reckon with. So, but all the same, let us thank God that my aspirations to see that Ijebu is developed, and one way or the other, the place is developing, and very rapidly too. Sikiru Ayanfe, Sikiru Oba Todo, Sikiru Ayanfe, Awujale Oba Todo.
One of the striking things of his reign is that Oba Dr. Sikiru Kayode Adetona continued to preserve the heritage and culture of Ijebu land, particularly in the area of Agemo and Ojude-Oba festival, which has now become household. While the Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Oba Adetona, celebrates his 86th birthday and 68th anniversary on the throne, his place in Nigeria's traditional leadership has become indelible in view of his roles and commitments to national development. Peter Falomo, OGTV News.
Congratulations to our own Awujale of Ijebu land. The enactment of Freedom of Information Act was to strengthen the constitution guarantee of freedom to receive and impact information and ideas. The law also encourages investigative journalism, balanced reporting and objectivity, as well as guard against mismanagement and corruption while promoting transparency in government decision-making process. In this special report, our reporter Kola Woliosho takes a look at the benefits and challenges facing Freedom of Information Act in Nigeria. Doctor's Office report are presented in this package.
Freedom of information is an essential right for every person as it allows individual rights and groups to protect their rights. Before the signing of Freedom of Information Act in 2011, the Nigerian press faced a series of gagging by governments, especially the military government. As a result of this, many journalists and media practitioners were imprisoned, assassinated, and assaulted. The signing of the act, according to Nigerians, encourages transparency in decision-making process and improves citizens' trust in government actions.
It enhances accountability and reposes confidence in governance. So it has been so helpful. We are only encouraging the people, association groups, individuals, to make proper use of it as tool, and it overrides some contents of the oath of secrecy. There are informations that will not be reviewed earlier, but now you can get those information.
The media, as the fourth estate of the realm, in exercising their rights, are faced with enormous challenges ranging from Official Secrecy Act, oath of secrecy, among others.
Some public officials are also not helpful because they still hide behind bureaucracy, they hide behind Official Secret Acts and a host of other factors to deny journalists and even individuals that are seeking information in public agencies, ministries, departments and agencies of government. They need to be sensitized that if you provide information for a recognized journalist, you are also helping the society. All the information leads to a lot of speculation and leads to a lot of fake news.
The act, according to them, is supposed to assist investigative journalism.
Been very, very helpful, especially in the aspect of investigative journalism, where you felt also you are suspicious about how a certain resources is being utilized, you're not clear about it. You have rights under the Act, as well as Section 4A of the 2011 FOI Act 2011, to demand for information. And should any public officer fail to accord you to release those information, you have right to sue such a public officer.
In our own context in Nigeria, a lot of journalists still find several obstacles towards accessing information from public agencies and institutions. There are a lot of protocols, a lot of bottlenecks that would discourage you as a journalist if you are not persistent, if you are not diligent in trying to obtain information.
They however encouraged public office holders to be transparent and at all times allow people to exercise their rights by having the privilege to important records and information for the benefits of all. History
was made on the 2nd day of April 1972 as Nigeria moved from right-hand to left-hand driving as part of efforts to move away from its colonial past. In this special report, some senior Nigerian citizens spoke on their experience with right-hand driving, the change to left-hand, and what it took them to adjust. Elizabeth Esson reports on the event that happened 48 years ago today.
On the second day of April 1972, Nigeria changed from right-hand to left-hand driving, 12 years after our independence from Britain. Some Nigerians who were qualified to drive while the country still practiced right-hand driving shared their experience with OGTV News.
Your steering is on the right and you are driving right. You cannot see the vehicles coming unless you have somebody on the other side of the seat looking for the road and say, okay, you can overtake, you can overtake. Overtaking was very difficult, very, very difficult.
Well, driving, that was a long time ago. Driving was easy, and it was because, one, we just came out of the Civil War, and of course, we just came back from British colonial system where they London the driving, and it was easy. And there are not many traffic on the road in those days.
To them, the change was not easily perfected as so many difficulties were experienced, but they were able to overcome it within the shortest period of time.
We used to say, left-hand signal, no driving. We used to make joke of one another then. It was a fun. It's just to reverse what they have said.
The first day, everybody was confused. We got aside in our cars, some couldn't even move their cars. But some of us who are, I was young, I was about 4 years in practice then. We were able to brave it and say, oh, nothing will happen. But it was very difficult to speed on the road because of the sudden change.
Left-hand driving, since that change 48 years ago, has then become the nation's driving way of life. Some automobile mechanics also spoke on the process of the conversion of right-hand drive vehicles to left-hand ones, as many European countries still produce right-handed vehicles imported into the country.
Changing process is now easy, as provision for conversion is being put in place from the factory. The conversion is not obvious except you are told.
According to a traffic manager, with the 1972 event and the expansion of travel and road infrastructures, the conversion necessitated changes in traffic regulations to fit the new driving culture.
Education and then to change the driving pattern, to change the flow of traffic, and then also to do proper alignment and proper road markings. And also, Nigeria now went ahead also to revise its national highway code. So those are the basic things, and then just almost at the twilight, after 72-88, FRSA was established, and we now further entrench it, and we took over enforcement from the police.
The fact that it would cost billions of pounds to turn everything around was not much of an incentive. This made Britain to drop the idea of conversion, leaving only 4 European countries still driving on the left. Elizabeth Esson, OGTV News.
In furtherance of the objective of restoring peace and security in the northeast of the country, the Armed Forces of Nigeria, through the airstrike force of Operation Lafia Dole, has ramped up attacks against terrorist locations in Borno. According to a statement by the Acting Director of Defense Media Operations, Defense Headquarters, Bernard Oyeko, the latest of these attacks were extended at Parisu, a Boko Haram terrorist hideout within the Sambisa forest on 31 March 2020, after a series of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions revealed a resurgence of activities within the settlement. Fighter jets dispatched by the Air Task Force to attack the hideout took turns in engaging the location, resulting in the destruction of some of the structures as well as the killing of several terrorists. Other fighters who attempted to reposition themselves in order to engage the attack aircraft were taken out. The Armed Forces of Nigeria, working in synergy with counterpart security agencies and stakeholders, will sustain the tempo of offensive action against all elements inimical to the peace and security of the nation. To support efforts of Ogun State government in containing the spread of coronavirus, the state chairman of Riders and Owners of Motorcycle Organization, ROMO, Razak Olushola Shotayo, has urged members to adhere strictly to the federal government's directive of staying at home throughout the period. He made the call during distribution of food items and other relief materials in Shagamu and Abeokuta. Adebola Oshomoji reports that the organization also vowed to punish any defaulter among its members. A report.
In order to complement government's effort in preparing for the 2-week lockdown and to curtail the spread of COVID-19, the Riders and Owners of Motorcycle Organization, ROMO, distributed food items and other relief materials to residents of Shagamu area of the state.
We've been told to stay at home by the government, so we are here to distribute, to contribute our own service to humanity.
We are trying to help people, some people that are unable to get food stuff and things at home.
The state chairman of ROMO, Olushola Shotayo Razak, said that the initiative was born out of the desire to complement effort of the state government in curbing the spread of the virus.
We are going to give some people gifts so that when they stay at home, they will have food stuff.
He also warned members of the association to comply with the federal government's 2-week lockdown order in the state.
I've talked to them, everybody should stay at home. They should allow the police to reign. They should allow the garage to stay. We have arranged to them, talked to them since last week now. We have been talking to them. The decision of the government should exist. So every one of them should stay at home.
Some beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the organization for the gesture.
We are saying thank you to ROMO for offering us that gift, at least myself and my wife, beneficiary of the gift.
The distribution of food items and other relief materials, which started in Shagamu, was also done in Abeokuta, the state capital. Adebola Oshomoji, OGTV News.
On business news segment of the news, banks' non-performing loans rise to 1.05 trillion naira in December 2019. I'll be giving you the details after this break.